I have here a scene, and now I want to create a very fast shot with a landscape. And I'm using here a palm tree, which is a proxy. Yeah, let me press Ctrl+1. I'm using Maya to show you that. I created this proxy. I have already this palm tree, which has animation on it. Now, how I created this is this, yeah. Let me just open a new Maya in the background. I'm using Paintbrush here. And in Maya, we have a content browser. In the content browser, we have Paintbrush. Let me open a fresh scene. Okay, this is a fresh scene. Check. Window, content browser. So under general, it's a content browser. Bam. This is here where you look under Paint Effects. You can scroll down to trees, but look, when you click trees, we have some 2D paint trees. They are not really cool. If you go to tree mesh, these are polygon trees, also paintbrush trees, and they are, when you convert them to polygons, they look closer to what you need. Now, what I will do is I will just, let's say I will click this guy here, and now I will go in the perspective view and click one time here and let mouse, bam, let go. So now this is the paintbrush, yeah? The paintbrush is not polygon. That means there's still animation on them. When I go through my time slider or press play, you will see there's animation on them. But to be able to work in any other software, if it's TerraGen, ZBrush, or whatever you think, we need to have polygons. So we can go here under modify, convert, paint effects to polygons, click here, make sure output is quads. We don't like triangles, quads, and then apply. And now what happens is it creates 120, because this is a time slide, but this animation is longer. The animation is, when I move this over, it will be much longer, yeah? But because it reacts to the time slider length, which is 120, to keep it all at the same level, and I want to show you very fast something. So you can extend the animation how long you want. But what happened is now here, this is now a polygon object. Yeah. Let me press 6, and now we can see it. Again, let me press play. Now you see we have a polygon object, which still has a connection to the stroke brush, which I used before. And the object is hidden. Control H. You can't wait 1 second. Let me hide this one. So. Yeah, you can't see it, it's hidden, because when you convert it, there, you see that it's, I show it to you there, it's hidden, and what it happens, it creates me now this polygon object, which is still connected. Now, if I want to use this in a larger scene, the connection would slow down everything. Yeah, what we do is we export this. Let me just move this a little bit down. And before I export this, I could do something. So there's 2 ways I can export it in Arnold under iStunt. So one is create stand-in. It's Arnold ASS, as like a proxy system. You know, you can create export this and then bring it in, and it's just a box. And it's very handy because you can populate a large scene with it without slowing down your the software, which is the whole point of this whole webinar right now, to show you to speed up things. Because if you have experience in 3D and you have 3 3D objects, they have a lot of detail, you will be not able to navigate anymore, or the renderer will be slow, yeah. And this whole pipeline will speed up everything, including how you populate things and so on. So we have 2 ways, export, stand-in. And I will use this one, yeah, but before I use this one, I will need to change the shader that it works with Arnold. Let me go into the shader. I click this button here. Now I will see, because the object is selected, I see now this is a palm leaf, yeah. What's happening is we are getting here a pong. You will see here on the right side. 1 second. So again, you will see here on the right side, it's a Pong shader. Now I can just change it from here to I standard surface, because I'm trying to teach you guys how to use the Arnold renderer, because it's a very powerful renderer which can handle large scenes. I click this. The only thing what's happening is now this. It takes out the connection to my color. I can, this is here. What I need to do is I go to my shader, this Arnold shader, middle mouse button, just bring it back to color. Now it's back connected. Now I want to bring back the opacity because it's gone. And to do that, I can use here my alpha into opacity. But I need to open it up. 1 second. So, and now I can go here, alpha, switch this on, switch this in, and this one in the last one. And now my alpha works for the Arnold. I call it palm leaf maybe. And the roughness, I will just change it a little bit. So this is it, yeah. And now this object has, again, POM. Double click here, you see, I will just go here, change it to I standards, surface, middle mouse button, drag that back into base, and now it's connected back. Okay, we have now set up for Arnold. That means Arnold can actually render this without getting problems. Yeah, what I did is now I prepared the scene. I will save this before I do anything else. I call it Palm Tree Blush 2 because I have already one set up, and I'm showing you how I did it now. And the last thing is I will go here to Arnold. So this is selected. Arnold, stand in, and then export. Now export, when you look here, has sequence. I switch that on. My frame is from 1 to 120. Yeah, I will change this. Step is 1. Everything else you can keep how it is. Yeah, just press export, and then you need to tell him where to go. Now I have here already a folder called Palm Tree. I call it ASS, and then enter and give it a name, Palm Tree _ B, because I have A. Now it here on the bottom, it now exports me ASS file, Arnold stand-in file. No, you will wait till it's finished. And now we can bring it in. I will hide this, Control H. No, I can hide this too. This is all gone. No, everything is invisible. To bring it back into your scene, you can left mouse button, drag it in from Explorer, or you can say create stand-in. If you have a lot of objects, you can use the Explorer, go in the scene, and then left mouse button, drag them all in. I will show you that in a second. Pass. Yeah, you see I created the stand-in. On the right side here, yeah, I click this button, and I'm in the right folder. Now I click one of them, doesn't matter, say load, and the box change. I will say here shaded, that you can see what's happening. This is now the the ASS file, not Alembic, yeah, and it is also with use file sequence on with animation back in my scene, and it's very fast. And now let me create here fast this physical light and press render, and let's see what we have. And we have our tree. Yeah, that works. Okay, so this is how I create inside Maya with Paintbrush, converting them and then into polygons. And from polygons, I exported them as an ASS file. Now I could do the same thing. Let me hide this. I will just do one thing, Palm Tree _ B, rename this. I will reuse that in a second. Yeah, I will export this, just the AS file, export, because I did set up some stuff, and then we can maybe save it one up here, call it, and change this now to Maya, binary, call it Palm Tree B. Now I have two variations of this palm tree. One I showed you how to create, and another one I prepared before. And I have them in my background. I will show you that in a second what's happening. Okay, so I have now a proxy, which is later connected to proper tree, which looks better maybe than this. I have some pages you can, there's Speedtree, you can look into it. there's also some other links on, I will send you the links there that you can find all the assets. You can find trees, any plants, any vegetations, rocks, other landscape, so scanned landscape and other 3D geometry you can utilize to do what I'm doing now. So this is the first step. Okay, we have now this proxy. Then I have here 6 or 8 rocks, just little, again, proxy objects. You can replace them later. And we will start first with the landscape. Now I have this plane. I can show you how I create it. I click this button here, and then it creates me a plane. I press R, scale it, like this. We need some more subdivision section. I will add here around 200 for now. We can go crazy later because this is polygons, and that will go into your speed of your feedback, what you get out of it. Now here, because we have UVs already, yeah, you see this UVs, that means I can use textures. What I do now is F8, so I go to deform, texture, I click set. I will load in a texture. Here on the, look, when I press texture deform, it creates this node, which is now here. And under texture, which I can now click, use a file, browse. And sorry if I'm very fast, because like I say, this is super fast. Yeah, if you join the course later, I will take time and we will record the videos and everything, but I need to speed through it. Yeah, 16 bits. I will take just a black and white image, which is it's a height map. Yeah, and they are black and white, and it's loading it up now. And you will see there's something happening here. Now I click this button. Let me change the intensity to 4. So we have something to start with. Yeah. Make sure you keep the Lambert shader on because we will do something later very specific. So now we will select this tree here, this palm tree, Control 1 just to see it, and then Control D, I will copy because I created another version. I scaled it down, I rotated it. Okay, we will call that palm tree B. I have 2, this is A and 2. So I will just move it over here. Now they are together. Now the important thing with this is this. Pivot point is here on the bottom. I select this both objects, they have the pivot point here, and they are in the origin, in the middle of my scene. And I go now to animation, and I go to mesh and open the mesh editor. Now, first thing is create a mesh network. When I did this, Control 1, you will see it created here a line. And the distribution is here on 2. Now I can add the numbers here, but I will not change anything here so much for now. What I will do is straight away, I will create now another node, and this is a very good node. It's a world node. Now, when I create this, it comes some sort of interesting deep setting for terrestrial ecosystem. First of all, we'd say cluster mode. This one, terrestrial ecosystem, yeah. And the second thing is you definitely need to plug in your ground, which I didn't do. Now, here is ground mesh, and I have my ground mesh. This is my ground mesh. Let's rename this to ground mesh. Done. And here in the outliner, you can see it. I changed the name. No? Now I go back to the mesh. Click here. Click this button, and I can do this from here too. I can just click this once, it doesn't matter. And I will middle mouse button, ground mesh, moves this into here, and let go. And now let's look what we have. No? We have now ecosystem. Let's add some more clusters. 1 second. And I click this here. I will switch on the ID. We will have at least 2, minimum of 2. And I should see some more. Perfect, it's not working. Oh, 1 second, guys, it will work for sure. Okay, back to the same scene. I will just scale it up. I will just add some more polygons here. Delete history. select this guys here. Let me hide this. Okay. I will create one object now. For now, I need to find out what's happening. It was working before. So create mesh. So they created it. Now let's create a word. And let's change this here. Now it works somehow. And when I use this plane here, yeah, I think now it works. Yeah, it works. Okay, cool. I have no clue why it didn't work before, but now it works. Okay, now the thing is, I can now go in the distribution and change the amount here. Yeah, okay, it works now strangely. And this one we will just change a little bit. We can change this to random, or we can use it also with mesh. Now when I use mesh here, again, I could just plug in into input mesh, the plane. Okay, now the thing is, if I want to create here on the bottom, yeah, as a river or whatever, I would be able to do that. To just delete them, there's a tool, which is a paint tool, but when I created with this ecosystem, the way how you delete it is like this. You go to your modeling, and then you go to mesh display, you toggle off display color attributes, and this object is selected, right click, you go to paint, mesh, and then vertex color RGB. And when I start painting it with B, I can start now painting the vertices. Sorry. Okay, you see it's updated it, and everything, when I painted it here, it will now just delete all of the trees. I can now also just select the faces here maybe. Expanses, press B for smooth selection and just move it down to create like a little fluss river. And then I can select here this corner a little bit and push it up a little bit with smooth selection again, just to get a little bit more, something like this. Okay, now because the trees I'm using right now, they are a proxy, yeah, this guy here. That means when I created it, I can change this here. I can change some settings, as a distribution is the amount, of course, yeah. Then, and the instance, I have here the palm tree 1, which is a proxy. Now to replace that, I have here a ready to go one, which is this one. This one is high res, yeah, let me scale it a bit up. So what I will do is this, I select control leftmost button, select the distribute, the instancer, and then here I say add selection. And this here, the one proxy, I can say remove, and now all the trees here are the right ones, yeah? Now if I play you will see the animation is there. Now we have everything. So I have not so much time left. I will create faster river. I will still carry on because I wasted too much time with the problem. There was some problems. I can't tell you right now what it was, but you see it's just sometimes this is 3D, it happens, yeah. Now I added here just a new river plane, assign new Arnold, standard surface. Let's give it here preset clear water. And then let's select this, assign new material, gives it the material standard surface. Here we have again presets. We can say maybe a little velvety, 90%, and change this to sun color. Is that transmission? Nope. So okay, something like this. And I could add some bump map here into it to make it more interesting. Under geometry, I will click here bump mapping, click. You can load in file or a procedural. A procedural is good, but let's use here this file I had, file. And I will use the same thing here, 16-bit. Also Control A, just want to do something. We need the light. We have here, let me show you how I created the light. Under Arnold, Lights, Sky Dome. This is the one you will use, and it creates the sky dome. Control A, you have here the color settings. Here you checker box, file, click here, and now I will use HDR image I've already prepared. Click. Now it takes some time to open it up. Takes some time, 1 second. Okay, done. Now, so I have now like a back image plane I can use. I have a patch of landscape I have here. And if you need some more, let's say landscape, you saw what I did. I can do it very fast again. Let me just save this before it messes up again. So now, yeah, you saw, I created here a plane. Saving, so save. I created a plane. I changed the amount of subdivisions to something higher, like something like this. And then I used the form under here, under modeling, under the form texture. And I plugged in a file, which was the displacer map, which was here. And the only thing what I forgot was I needed to delete the history. That was the thing which is important, because when you still have the deformer, it's still a flat plane. Yeah. If I move that around, you see it sticks, but it's still flat. To get really a bake out, you need to click history. Now it's baked. And this one I would use just for the background now. Scale it, move it around, just move it like here. And we need to have the same shader which we have here, just assigned to the other one. I will call this shader to ground or sand or something like this. Now when I click this, right click, assign existing material, then I should see this one, ground, sand. Just make it bigger, move it away. Find the nice spot you want to cover, like this maybe. Now you can still take this, copy this one more time over, rotate it a little bit to get just another hill there in the background. Oops. Scaling maybe more like this. Okay, no, so this is maybe okayish frame set right now. It just moves this down for the river. What else? Now I have some stones. I prepared them before. No, the stones they would work the same way. Now you can select them, and I will show you that fast. You will create a new mesh for that. Now you have mesh here, so we have some tools already there also. And under animation, you have mesh here. Now again, mesh editor. Now what I will do is I will create a new mesh network. And because these objects are selected, now I have here 8 rocks, and right now it copies me one of them. Yeah, and these are ASS files. You saw me exporting them. I did the same for them. They have no animation. They're just single frame. But now, right now, it just gives me one rock. Yeah. Now, if I want to see all the rocks, I need to add the ID. And now, when I add ID, you will see random. Yeah. Bam. Okay. They are now here everywhere. Now to do the next thing, I will need to go to distribution, change this linear to mesh, and then middle mouse button, this plane here, let me call it GG. So, okay. Distribution, let's add this. One sec. Yeah. And then middle mouse button, where's this GG? This one goes into input mesh. And when I now create here more, now I can use another node called random. Now I could use random to get different rotations out of them here. Also the scale, you can use here scale. One second, I need to check something. Okay, let's render this out and let's see what we get out. Yeah, because I did quite a lot and we didn't render one frame out. I put this like this, maybe more like this is better. Okay, how that works out is now Arnold Renderer, no? Because I have the light, that's important, and I have the geo, and now I can click render. It will take some seconds to calculate the image. Okay, of course, there's some things you can optimize. So first of all, the material is very pinkish. I would look into that, yeah, so get the right setting for it. The water maybe could be a little bit more interesting. And we can now work on the texturing. The thing is, right now, I'm just showing you how to create the geometry fast and place stuff, yeah. Now, to make really nice geometry, of course, you would do some texture work on them, and then it will look much better. But for very fast, you know, creating a landscape, let's say it's an alien landscape or whatever, this is a good approach. Or if you need for your concept a starting point, and you have here, you know, light direction already in, so you could save this image, bring it to Photoshop, and use it as a starting point for Photogrammetry. I will just check 2 or 3 more things to optimize this render now. There's, of course, you know, 2 or 3 things you need to know. When I render here, let me stop it. In the render settings, yeah, right now I have 3, which is okay, it's a standard resolution, so the anti-aliasing is fine, but if I want to have more fine detail, I can go up here with 4, 5. The resolution of the image is here. I just go over common. I can type in whatever resolution I need. We normally work with HD 1080, but most of the time, you know, you're working with other resolution. So that will, this new render would be bigger. Now I will just check fast the material here on the floor, and I know what's happening because I used the preset here, and the red is here in the sheen. Now I don't want to have this pinkish color. I will have more brownish color. That's the first thing, and maybe less of it. Specular roughness, we can leave it like this, and we can pump up this a little bit. The index of refraction, I will explain you everything in the course when I'm teaching it, because there's a lot of things. Of course, I'm moving now index of refraction, and I need to explain you what it is and why the shader is doing what it does. But in the shader is super important to get the right feel to it, no? And of course, also a texture. Right now, I have just a single color. If I would use here a nice texture like for the floor, and let me do that fast. Yeah, it takes, as it's longer webinar now, but it's fine. I will just show you how to do it. Google's, and then I type sand in Google. 1 second. And let's find image. No, but if I can find one which is good enough, let's say this one, I can save this image. Let me save it here. And now let's use this image. I click here, File. If anybody has question here, I can ask me now. I can answer you. In the background, I'm still waiting to load in this image, but I don't want to waste time now because it's already late.
So someone is asking if you have any tips for someone wanting to become an environment artist.
Environment artist, you need to have a very strong artistic background. You know, you should not be. Of course, depends what you want to do. If you want to be the one who's just doing layout means somebody modeled this stuff and you are just moving around. This is part of environment artist. Also creating first a layout and then populating it with better assets. You know, you saw what I did. I had the proxy, I used it and then replaced it with a little bit better parent tree, which I still think is not good enough. You know, if you ask me, you can go more crazy with that, as more real. But then this webinar wouldn't be able to show you in this short time because there's too many things could go wrong. When you use high-res assets, and to answer very fast, so artistic background is a must. Then you should also know where so you should know Maya or any 3D software for sure. I know Houdini gets bigger and bigger, but still Maya is widely used. If you learn Maya and Houdini, then you're definitely better off. Then you should look into other additional software called TerraGen, Vue, ZBrush. Yeah, you need to learn it, especially ZBrush. If you learn it, then there will be more people willing to hire you because you know this tool, and then you know you want to do environment. So if you want to do digital 3D environments, you need to know which tools you should learn and which links you have to access all the necessary assets. Yeah, let me show you one of them fast. Sketchfab. Yeah, okay, I show you one of them. This Sketchfab is a page where you can download stuff. Yeah, so 3D objects, not for free. Some are for free. You should click downloadable. Let's say you want to have a tree. I type tree, enter, and I have here. You see sometimes a plus basket, or sometimes they want money, no, of course. But sometimes they are free, like this guy. This parent tree is for free. Yeah, of course you don't want to use stuff like this on there, but if you want to test or need proxies here, bam. If you need some better things, you go to other sites. But here sometimes you find some really jewels like this one. Yeah, when I click this, make sure it's OBJ. When you say download, yeah, FBX or OBJ, that's what you want. Okay, and you will see this here. Look, this is a 3D asset. And for a concept artist or for DMP artists, this is awesome. You can download that here, click download, you get this with texture, and you can use it in your scene. And that's what you do on them. Here you have another, yeah. So you need to look. There are different pages for different stuff. And on Sketchfab you can download everything. I mean that's just vegetation right now. If you want, let's say some cool cars because you're creating a interesting apocalyptic environment, you can download them from here. There are a lot of them. This guy, look. Okay, they cost money, but doesn't matter. They are not expensive. Yeah, somebody who wants to do some cool work can spend $4 or $5. And look, you can download all these awesome vehicles. Yeah, you see that? And there, you make sure they're FBX or OBJ, and you're safe. And that means these guys, you can just place them in your 3D scene. And this is all stuff I will teach you in the course. Because we need to also use them in Arnold in the renderer. And there are other things you need to learn. But there are pages you can access. Let me go one more. Another one, Speedtree. I'm not sure if this here is dead. Yeah, this is unfortunate dead, but I think I saved the version out of it. Let me do one thing. I will crash it. I mean, overall, I did show you what I wanted to show you. I wanted to populate here with mesh the terrain. I want to add some rocks here. And the thing is, you can now crank up the amount of trees up to, I wouldn't say million, but I think you could go up to 1 million of palm trees here and still be able to render. I mean, of course, you would not have 1 million. You have maybe 6,000 palm trees. You have maybe 20, 30,000 rocks, and then you can add some bushes. You know what I did now, just with 2 assets. Just think bigger. You can populate this whole thing, and you can go up to 1 million instances, which is a lot. Yeah, okay, I will now stop here. Any other questions?
So one question from Terry, who is asking, how do you render water fluids using Arnold?
Water fluids, look, first of all, the solver in Arnold, he said, or in Arnold, yeah? It's Alembics. So if you use Houdini to create the water, you export the Alembic, and then you can use any software which supports Arnold, which is Houdini and also Maya, you know, and I think there are some other Cinema 4D is also supporting Arnold. That means when you have an asset which works here, it works in all of them. And Alembic, I mean, this is something, again, you know, I need to explain you that, and that's what I do normally in the course, but I will tell you fast. Alembic is an animated polygon mesh. That means the information is baked into the vertices, and that speeds up the way how you can play something in real time. If you have a rig inside and you press play, it's super slow. And that's the reason why we select the geometry and export the Alembic. That will just export the movement of the polygons and nothing else. And that means it's super fast. And that's another reason we use Alembics and RSS files to populate instance bigger terrains, or let's say you have zombie crowds walking, you know, you want them as Alembics or as ASS files, Arnold standards. So that's a proxy file from Arnold. Yeah. Any other questions you can ask me fast?
Someone would like to know, what was it like to work on Inception?
It was awesome, you know. When I worked on the movie, I was thinking it's another crap movie. I didn't know Christopher Nolan, nothing. Seriously. And when I saw the shots, I was just cursing them, because when you are the one who needs to fix something they didn't do proper there, and it was some sort of fast 2 weeks action shot, and it was a huge shot. You know, the car is driving. You needed to create fast this whole environment from nothing. Also, they didn't have enough plates shot. It was a tricky situation sometimes, but on the end, you know, when I saw nominated for Oscar and they won the Oscar, and it was good. It was a good feeling. But on the end of the day, you know, I'm just moving around. DNEG didn't want to keep me after, you know, 3-4 years, and then I moved on to the next company and worked there, and so on. It's like we are gypsies. We work here a little bit, and we go there. It's like, yeah, we are nomads. We are traveling a lot in our job. That's the only handicap. If you are in London, you are Brit and you live in London, you're one of the happy people in the world, because only there are 3 or 4 places in the world which are very good right now. New Zealand, Canada is awesome. England, London is still very good. If this Corona wouldn't be here, we would be all happy and loaded and everybody would have work, but that changed everything. But still, I think more and more CGI will be now needed, as more than before. That means it's a really good time to learn it. I think there will be more production really going full. So this is what I'm showing you, you know, think about using it in Unreal later, because whatever you construct here, you can use it in other engines like Unreal, Houdini. There's always a bridge between, because we use OBJ, Alembics as a standard files to transfer data. I will explain you everything in deep if you're interested to learn more. Yeah. Any other questions first?
Someone asking, so do you mean you're asking if there's an age limit for a studio to accept you for a job as an environment DMP artist? Is a degree a must? And does self-taught artists have any chance to join a company?
Of course, so autodidact, I mean, I don't know the English word, autodidact is that for me. People, they learn just because they want to learn. You can learn now a lot of things I couldn't learn. When I was learning, I was using like 4 or 5 thick books, yeah, and it was English and my main language is German. It was killing me. Now, you guys go on YouTube, on Vimeo, whatever, you type in Maya, you type basic, you type blah, you learn stuff. The thing is, when you learn it like this, it's a little bit messy because everybody is teaching you just a part of things, but not the overall thing. I mean, when you watch these videos, you think, I understand when you try to follow it, there's a lot of questions still going on. And that's, I think, one good reason. If you have a mentor, somebody who works in the industry, he will give you not just tips and tricks how to do stuff in 3D, also give you maybe tips and tricks how to sell yourself. You know, give you some more deeper information where to apply or how to apply or check your portfolio, no? So before you apply, just give you this additional information you will not have when you watch videos online. But I'm just saying to you, if you learned all these things and you're good enough, you need to have a portfolio. Yeah, ideally you are covering for landscape, environment, concept, whatever you want to do. You have 3 or 4 good examples. They will tell and they will sell you. Not what you are telling how good you are. Just your portfolio will tell to the people how good you are, and they will, of course, they want you there. Yeah, and what I'm saying is, if you specialize in digital tools like ZBrush, yeah, I think it's super important for most of us. Doesn't matter who it is. ZBrush is one of the important software. And if you work for commercial and maybe feature, also very important is Mari. You should learn Mari, yeah, because ZBrush, Mari, and Maya and Houdini all together, they work together the best. And Speedtree and sometimes TerraJane or whatever. Yeah, so TerraJane is another tool. I mean, I'm not going into that too much because it is not something I'm using a lot, but there's some concept artists, they use that. TerraJane is a software which works with procedural and with height maps. And it is really built to create nice looking images like this guys here, yeah? You see them? Yeah. I'm not sure if this is really TerraJane, but if this is one, yeah, this is one, this is TerraJane, and I think this could be TerraJane, yeah, that's TerraJane. Yeah, I can't really, because they are so real sometimes that you don't know if it's 3D or TerraJane, yeah, but here, you see this looks like this somebody, that's this one, yeah, this is a TerraJane render, okay, you can see how real it looks, but there's little problems with this software. The problem is a frame like this takes around 12 to 24 hours to render, and that's something they don't tell you when they show you these images, you know. And I mean, this, what you see here, we can set up this in Arnold, Unreal, or whatever, and it's in Unreal is real time, and you get something very close to this. Yeah, it will look slightly different. Then you will render this in Arnold. It can look quite similar to this, and then you have TerraJane, which renders this, but it's really not useful for animation because you can render one single frame in 20 hours, but if you work in the industry and you need to render out a DMP of a whole shot, 500, 1000 frame, then that will not work. That's too long render time. It creates awesome images. If you want to maybe render, let's say for your concept, this corner you can render this. That it takes 20 minutes maybe. It depends on the resolution, on the size. But what I'm saying is each software, when it's beautiful, it comes also with some sort of handicaps. And you need to know which software you can use when. If you have no time, I would never use TerraJane. TerraJane is for people, they are artists and they want to create nice images, you know, they want to maybe just use everything in TerraGen and render one frame out like this. That's fine. But if you want to create animation, that's not cool. But you can export what you create here, this geometry, you can export this to Maya or ZBrush or whatever. You can export the height maps or the geometry. You can create also clouds in TerraGen. If you want to look, and this is one of them. The other one is View. Yeah, View is another one. World Builder is another one, where you create procedure. So what I'm saying is there are some tools out there the industry is using. Okay, and I mean, of course, now you can ask me which one's on, but I need to stop now, and all the other questions now May needs to take over.
Here, this one is quite quick. You have already replied to it. So what about Vue and Speedtree? Do you use them? So I guess they're asking if you use them on a daily basis.
No, I'm not daily. I mean, first of all, I don't have a license for that. You need a license. I don't know if there's a student license. When we use it, we are using it in the company, or I buy the trees. You know, somebody sells them, and then you buy it. If you because Escape, I think, has some Speedtree licenses. Our students, they are covered with that. And yes, Speedtree, of course, if you use Speedtree, it will help you. There is a whole list of sites where you can buy awesome trees, better than Speedtree. Yeah, but Speedtree is, you need to think, it creates a very good starting point. It's, let's say, it's 70% there, because you have animation there. But what you need to do is in Speedtree, you need to go in the textures and make them better. Or maybe you take the trunk out and replace it with the photogrammetry. This all information I'm giving you now, that's all, you know, very specific stuff. But yes, Speedtree, I would use it in combination with photogrammetry and some pimp up on the trees. Of course, that's what we did in Jungle Book. You know, a lot of the trees are Speedtree. You have also in Houdini a L system which creates trees. You saw Paintbrush here in Maya has some animation trees. There are different sources where you get your vegetation, and it doesn't need to be always Speedtree. Sometimes, you know, you download them, buy them. If you don't need animation on them, you can just download them. If you want to have an animated tree, then you need to find, of course, a way how you can export this animation, and then you need to buy it or lease it or whatever you do. I'm sure you can, so for every year, just rent the software. A lot of them are student version of 1 year contract, 3 months contracts, 1 month contracts. You can look it up. If you need the software for 1 month, just book it for 1 month, use it, and then bam, done.
So another question from Jumindu asking, what software are mostly used in studios for environment work?
Hey, like I say, a mixture of a lot. It's not just one software. Now, the future of creating environments is photogrammetry. Yeah, I will be very clear with that. It's not about people, artists painting landscape. It's about getting the assets together. What I'm saying is buying them sometimes or creating them. There's ways how you can create photogrammetry if you want to know what it is. Again, this is a whole big section I will cover in the course, where you can take a photo, so you take pictures from a rock yourself, and then there's a software you can spit out a photo reel, like I showed you in Sketchfab. That's all photogrammetry. Yeah, in Sketchfab, let me go back there. This is the future. This here is photogrammetry. That means somebody took a picture, also not one, around 200, 300 pictures from a real car. Yeah, okay. And then you have the software called, what is that? Let me think, which software is doing it? Also, there are 3, 4 ones, so they are doing it. Let me look it up first. Agi software is one for sure. Agi. If you type photogrammetry, then you should get enough information there. Okay, the software name, yeah, so that's again one of them. There are many of them, but this is one of the good ones, and there are another one I think Autodesk is selling. And you can look, you can try it out here, yeah. And I mean, it's really straightforward. There are also some videos if you want to know how to use it. But what you do is you take photos of whatever you want to now create a 3D copy out of it. This person, that's his car, maybe this is another car here, you know. And it's not just cars, anything. I mean, stay to let me find something better. You see, this is really awesome. I mean, this is perfect. You can go close here, put it in your scene here for a cool concept, you know, or whatever, or for DMP or whatever you. This is awesome stuff. Now let's go to here and type landscape. Yeah, landscape. Some people have a whole patch of landscape they have here. Just trying to find a good one, which is not too messy. Maybe this one. And this is the future of environment. You know, you are not really modeling a lot. You are using assets. Maybe something like this. You see what I have here? This is just a scan of this environment. This person used to draw to capture all this image. I know that because this is the only way how you do this. He used to draw and he was flying around here, and then he used the Agisoft or any other software. So sometimes they say which software they use, and they create this kind of proxy. I call it proxy because it's very low res, yeah? And what you do is you are now replacing this shit wall with a nice wall, and then here you change this tree with the proper tree, and then you have a starting point and you have light which works. Okay, so this is really important. This is the future. You are not from scratch creating stuff. You're using, you know, presets. This people you can download. It's all 3D characters. So that's what you do now, yeah? You are not really modeling and creating from scratch. Of course, sometimes you do, you know, when you need to create some fantasy castle. That means you need to build it, but you would use reference images and you would photogrammetry to starting point. You know, when I need to do a castle, I would go here, type castle, and then download one or buy one. Doesn't matter. I would first buy one and then just use it as a starting point. Here, this one. No, 14 pounds, whatever. I don't care. It's not enough. It's not a lot of money because if you want to create something like this, it takes you around 3-4 weeks normally. No, I'm joking. But let's say 1 week. Yeah, 1 week to get this looking like this. Maybe 3-4 days. Here you just buy it and then use it as a starting point. And let's say this is on a hill in the background. No, it works, and you can always cut it and extrude it and build. So like use it like Lego. That's what the best. You know, Lego is what we do just in 3D. The next question, the last one question, and then that's it.
So Krishna is asking, is Maya okay to use for modeling? As I have read that 3ds Max is used for mostly modeling, but I use Maya for all the assets.
Let's BS. First of all, when a software is #1 is ZBrush for character modeling, and overall as modeling is ZBrush. Then Maya. Sorry, maybe Modo, because Modo comes from behind right now and it's really getting really good and so on. People are praising it. I don't use Modo, I don't use 3D Max, but what I know is, you know, when you work in Maya and you start modeling, it's just the beginning, because most of the time you're using a secondary software like ZBrush to do this detail work. You are not really doing like little detail work in Maya. You are just blocking out stuff and then bring it into ZBrush and do the modeling there. If you need to model, let's say, RoboCup, you can model it in Maya perfectly. We have awesome tools there. It doesn't make sense. For me, it makes sense to learn the software which gives you more chance on the market to get a job. And at the moment, Maya, if you know Maya, you get more opportunity to get a job. That counts for me. You know, if you work for a game company, they want my artist most of the time. There are some small companies, maybe they use still 3D Max, but you will laugh, there's not so many left. You know, I mean, if then maybe Modo or whatever, they will come from behind and they will take over. But Maya is a hub, everybody's using it. It's a hub, that means everything goes into and they use it to render stuff out and so on. Houdini is used to create the water effects and the explosion and the scattering and all this other heavy simulation stuff is Houdini. ZBrush is sculpting, Mari is texturing. That's the pipeline in the industry. So there's definitely Substance Painter, maybe for gamers, they use Substance Painter. We maybe use some generators here and there from it, but we are not using it for texturing. We are using most of the time Mari, or you trying to use Photogrammetry, what we get out for free. This is textures we can use there, you know. Okay, any questions more? That's it then, yeah?
So thank you guys for attending this webinar, and don't miss out the next episode next week.